my knowledge and experience with you all, so that something better, a better and a safer world can happen to all of us. So, the question that we are trying to address today, I'm a psychiatrist and I've been working for the last 20 years in Mumbai, and about say 15 to 20% of my the patients or the clients whom I consult are young people. They are under the age of 16 years, and there's a good number of people also between the age of 16 to 25 years. So I'm speaking on basis of my experience also, and I also worked on some of the helplines, which made me realize what kind of issues the young people come and what are the true barriers and concerns that they have. So today we are trying to understand what is the right time to seek professional help. Now this is both a common question and an important question. And how common is it? Is that a lot of times when I'm traveling by train or aeroplane and I happen to reveal to my co-passengers that I'm a mental health professional, the question that they ask me is often this one: that how should a simple person know, somebody who doesn't know about mental health, how would that person know what is the right time to seek professional help? So it's that common, and it's also important to understand. Now, why do we get this question in our mind? Is because a lot of times, we, right from childhood, we are accustomed to facing certain emotional or mental kind of discomfort. Sometimes when we are young people, we want a certain thing, it doesn't happen. We even express in the form of crying or having an argument with the elders. Somebody may scold us when we are doing something, and we do go through these emotions. But when we look back on these events as teenagers or as young people, we realize that okay, that was a temporary thing and that was required for the learning process. So when you become an older person and your own person, you are confused whether this is just a part of my learning process. Is it that I am overreacting? And the same thing happens when you observe someone else going through something. That is this something that the person is reacting? Is it an internal reaction? What is happening to that person? And is it an overreaction if we go to the doctor for every little thing? The other thing is that if you have any kind of illness of your body, you know so you may have a fever, or you may have some kind of an injury or something like that, and you can see that it is not improving or it is causing some kind of thing that is visible. But with mental health, many times it's not like that. It's not a continuous thing. Sometimes you may feel okay, it's not visible, you're doing your studies right, you're socializing right, everything seems to be going right, and then you're still going through these emotional ups and downs, and then you're wondering, is it really required? How, what symptom do I have that I need a professional help? That is the other thing. So we'll talk in depth about all these questions and try to understand what is the right time to seek professional help. Now, before we understand what is the right time to seek professional help, we need to understand some more questions. For example, I made a list of these questions, and the way I'm going to present to you is by answering these questions one by one. For example, another common question that a lot of people ask me: what is mental health? How do you know this person? Just by looking, how can you know that this person is having a mental health concern or this person is having a good mental health? Now, there are a lot of definitions. If you do a Google search about mental health, those are the definitions of mental health. Essentially, mental health doesn't mean that you're just not having a diagnosed mental illness. That's not the only thing. So, a lot of people who come to my clinic, they feel very shy to reveal to others that they are taking medicine for the mental health problem, because they feel that other people will treat them in a very negative kind of way because they are taking mental health medicines. But no, now the definition of mental health has completely changed. Even if you take a medicine for mental health condition, that doesn't mean that you are necessarily mentally ill. Let me go more deeply into this. Basically, mental health means you feel mentally quite stable, quite calm when you're doing your usual activities. Not only that, you should have a sense of engagement in your surroundings, in your work, and in your future endeavors. Going beyond that, it also includes certain bodily functions like your sleep should be adequate, your energy levels should be such that you are able to go through the day, and your appetite or your desire to do certain things, that should be within the range of what it is for for your age. Now, ordinarily, we have some of the other stresses every day. So, for example, some people will have to face a surprise test. Some people will have to face that aaj pani nahi aaya. Some people have to face that, okay, somebody's birthday party and they forgot to invite you. So, when you're mentally healthy, you will be slightly disturbed by these problems, but you will be able to figure out a solution, face that issue, and come out of it. It will not stay with you. So, all in all, there are three components of mental health: your internal feeling and behavior, which is that you are stable, that you are able to do all your daily activities with enthusiasm, with interest, and your body is having a proper rest, proper energy levels, proper appetite, and with the daily stresses of life, you are able to manage without losing the track of your life and whatever activities you are doing. So, when all these things, a lot of these things get affected either to a mild level for a very long period of time. So, for example, when COVID happened, what happened? 95% of people, or almost 100% of the people, went through emotional turmoil. Will we call them mentally ill? No, because emotional turmoil was a normal response to the situation where people had to really go here and there and think how to keep themselves safe from the pandemic. But once they understood, once the government told them, once they also understood that how the hand washing is to be done, how the mask is to be done, and all those things, people became calm, and then they started baking banana bread, you know. So they came out of that zone and they moved on. They didn't keep worrying about it. So that is good mental health. But believe me, there are some people still who have not come out of their house and still they have the fear that they may get a COVID illness. And those are the people who may be doing all the activities at home. They may even be working from home, but they don't want to come outside the house because they are scared of COVID. So it's like a mild kind of thing by which they are doing everything what is required, but they are not doing up to the mark and their worries are still with them. So the duration of this problem is very, very long, and even if it is the intensity is less, the duration is long, and that is one of the signs of mental ill health. Sometimes the person becomes very, very uncomfortable. Their sleep gets disturbed, they are not able to eat properly, their behavior changes a lot, and that kind of thing is very obvious to the person as well as the persons who are with them, and that is definitely a sign of mental ill health. Now, why I'm comparing and contrasting these two things is it is very easy to recognize severe and sudden mental ill health, which is less common. Severe and sudden mental ill health is only about 5%, but 95% of the mental health issues are mild and they go for a very, very long time, and sometimes they become part of the personality of the person, and we feel, oh, this person is negative person, that person is paranoid person, that person is OCD person, and we don't realize that person may be going through certain kind of emotional turmoil which he is somehow managing to do the studies or do their whatever activities, but they are going through internal pain, and that is also a symptom of mental ill health. So the answer to the first question, that what is mental health and what is mental ill health, is that the entire picture of the person has to be stable in such a way when the external environment is stable, the person is also stable doing their activities. And when the external environment there is some stress, there is some kind of response to adapt to the stress, but the person comes back to the baseline level and then continues whatever activities they have to do. That is a state of mental health. And if these things are not happening, then that is a state of mental ill health. Now you will want to ask me, how is this mental health happen? Because physical health हमको सब कुछ सिखाया स्कूल में, that when you take a proper diet, when you have regular exercise, when you sleep properly, when all the vitamins and minerals are proper, then the body remains healthy. How does mental health happen? Now mental health is primarily happens in the brain. Brain is the organ which gives the symptoms when your mental health is going to be impaired. How does the brain function? So the brain uses a lot of resources. What kind of resources? Energy resources. The energy resources come from the diet that you're taking. Why am I telling you this is very important? Because nowadays a lot of people, they want to be very slim, very athletic, and they go for high protein diet. They don't want to take carbohydrates. But if you want to keep your brain healthy, carbohydrates are absolutely essential because the brain needs carbohydrates. And so if you don't eat properly, then your brain feels very tired, and over a period of time, due to the energy deprivation itself, your mental health can go down. A good balanced diet which includes carbohydrate is extremely important for mental health. The other thing is plenty of water. 70% of your brain is water. So if you get dehydrated, you're not having balanced fluid, you become very, very upset easily. So what we are seeing is, with climate change, where there are heat waves, in the emergency department, we do see many people who come with mental health conditions. And the commonest mental health conditions are, when people feel very thirsty, they are likely to use a lot of alcohol. They are likely to get very, very irritable, and they may fight. They don't get proper sleep, so a lot of accidents can happen. And for students, they are not able to attend school because the school is a very hot place and all these things. So you have to keep a watch on your adequate hydration. Next important thing for the brain health is that you should have a good engagement. So if you don't like studies, please find something that is very interesting, very challenging, but that study just of a different subject. So the work of the brain is to study. What does the brain do? The brain is a place which collects lot of data from the external environment and from your body. It synthesizes and processes all this data, and it gives you a response. For example, if the change is an internal change, then it will try to regulate your blood pressure, try to regulate your heart rate, your hunger symptoms, your happiness symptoms, your sadness symptoms. And if it's an external this thing, it will make you sort of get up and take a sweater if it is very cold, or switch on the fan if it is very hot. So the brain is like a control room, and this is the place where all this comes here. And so the brain health is extremely important for you to be adapt to this thing. So when you are giving all these inputs to the brain, that's also time the brain happens. But in order to be able to do this fast, the brain has to get some challenge. Brain is also like a muscle. If you use it more, then it stays healthy. And that is why studying regularly or learning some kind of hobby, music, keeps it very active, and the brain muscle remains very healthy. What is the next thing? You don't want to damage the brain. So when you're riding a vehicle, which is a two-wheeler, you want to wear a helmet so that you don't get injured. If you meet a psychiatrist or a neurologist like me, they'll say, please don't play any sports where head injury is likely, like football or cricket without the helmet. So keep your brain safe. That's also something important. Adequate sleep. Nowadays what is happening is that we are working throughout the day. In the evening we come home late, we relax a bit, do all the housework, and only after 9:30 we become really free, to social, to catch up with our friends, and then we begin chatting on the phone. And then as we chat we don't realize what time it is, and then it's 11 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock, and then suddenly we realize we have to sleep, and you sleep. But the next day again you have to have an early start. So exactly what happens is that day by day, on the first day you may sleep 1 hour less, then the second day it becomes 2 hours, 3 hours. So your sleep deficit gets added up. During sleep, sleep is not a passive process. Many people feel that sleep is a waste of time. We are just lying down and doing nothing. Nothing productive is happening. That is not true. During the sleep, brain is very active. On a thinking level, it processes a lot of data and removes the data that is unnecessary. And at the toxin level, actual brain toxins are removed during the sleep process. So if you don't sleep sufficient number of hours, and that too at night, so some people may feel that we'll sleep at in the afternoon and we will stay awake at night because we mix with our friends at night. But the brain has a biological clock. So there is a time for the brain to do these activities, which are the cleaning and maintenance activities of the brain parts. And when all this is done, it is only at night this is done. So that is where we get the answer to the third question, which is how does mental ill health happen? Suppose your diet is not proper, or you're not mentally engaged in something sufficiently, your sleep is not proper, or there is some injury to your brain, then these are the processes in which the mental ill health can happen. Sometimes you may have a risk for certain disorders, and you may come under a lot of stress. Now, stress is something that is not a physical pressure, but it is a kind of toxic information that the brain gets. And because of this toxic information, stress related conditions can come out and mental illness can occur. How should we know that we have mental illness? In mental illness, the person may be uncomfortable inside, not feeling good about themselves, not feeling good about the world. They may have disturbances of sleep, appetite, energy levels may change. They may be using certain kind of substances again and again, like there may be user of weed or alcohol or cigarettes, which we know are harmful to the health, but there is constant use of this. There may be some kind of abnormal behavior. Person may feel that they are behaving normally, but then you feel that okay, this behavior is not correct for this setting or for the age or the type of person this is. There's a sudden change in behavior. These are the indications of mental ill health. Sometimes the person may feel so despondent, so bad that they feel that they must kill themselves. They get suicidal ideas. That is a very clear indication of mental ill health. Or some people, they may not feel that they want to kill themselves, but they feel that if they harm themselves, create certain cuts, or they deprive themselves of food, or they give themselves some kind of trouble, like exercising excessively so that they become very thin. And that makes them feel okay, this is the right thing to do. Now, these types of behaviors are also indications of mental ill health. Now, what type of mental discomfort is there in any person's? I mean, what is the language of mental discomfort? So these are basically what we call as the emotions of a person. Now, we have a tendency to say negative emotions and positive emotions. So we have a feeling that okay, anger or sadness, these are negative emotions, and happiness or joy, these are positive emotions. There is no such thing. For the brain, all emotions have a purpose, and there is nothing like a negative or positive emotion. What is more important is what is the context of your emotion. For example, in a certain place, when you're supposed to feel happy or a joy, you're not able to feel it, then that is a mental discomfort. Or suppose there is a certain place where as a young person you're supposed to like it and all, and inside you're feeling ki, why am I not liking it? I came first in my class but I'm not enjoying this. Then that is a kind of mental discomfort. Another type of mental discomfort is the intensity. For example, a person may see a certain sad situation, they may feel sad, but that situation is proportional to the that feeling is proportional to the situation of sadness. If this person becomes extremely sad, hysterical, and very very much disturbed, not able to come out of it for many days, then that is also a type of a mental discomfort which is abnormal. So essentially, when you have a mental discomfort, it gives you a very discomfort is discomfort, that you feel that this is not the right emotion, or this is not the right type of emotion, or this is not the right way. For example, if I'm angry, then I should express my anger in a way that is a right way. For example, not by breaking things or like being very loud or something like that. So these three things are very important to know the answer to the next question, that is, what are normal and not so normal forms of mental discomfort. Mental discomfort can happen, or rather should happen, to everybody when they are faced with a situation that is new, that is slightly challenging to them. Then mental discomfort, it will happen. Slight amount of fear, anxiety, sadness, frustration, anger, this everybody happens. But what is not so normal is the context should be appropriate, the intensity should be appropriate, and the way you express should be in such a way that you get a solution out of that situation. For example, if you're very angry that somebody lost your some precious book that they had borrowed, if you make a big fight about it and sort of slap that person and all, then it's an overreaction, and your whole reputation in your college or class will be destroyed. But if you do not show your anger, then people will start taking you for granted. So you have to learn to show your anger in a way, telling this person that this is not done, you cannot do this, and what can we do about it. So you have to really be able to express this anger so that the situation is solved. So the normal forms of mental discomfort, any kind of mental discomfort, when it is appropriate to the context, in keeping with the situation, and expressed in a way that whatever is the situation, it gets sorted or it is enjoyed to its greatest extent, then that is normal. Anything else will be considered as a problem kind of situation. Now, having understood this whole picture, that there is a brain body interaction, the body has to be healthy, good diet, good sleep, and then the brain has a certain pattern which is shown in what we are feeling inside, what we are behaving inside, what kind of discomfort emotions are there, what kind of good emotions are there, and how we are expressing these emotions, living our life, how we are responding to the mild daily stresses or the abnormal stresses of the day. And we have understood all these things. It's not so difficult when Dr. Vani is talking to you, or when it is put in a book or a brochure. And many times when you go back and take this thing in your mind, you will still find that it is difficult to seek help. More so if you're telling somebody that, see, you may be going through this thing, why don't you seek help? And then you see that, okay, it is not being done. But by just saying that you're not doing, or I'm not doing, the problem is not going to be solved, because we need to understand why it sometimes becomes very difficult to seek help. Now, this is where I want to share certain things which I have experienced, that why people find it difficult to seek help. One is that we are very scared, when our mental health goes down, we are very scared that, are we losing control? If we seek help, will that person take over my life? Will that person tell the other people that I went through this? We feel very much ashamed, because from the childhood we are brought to believe that if we have a mental health problem, then we are some kind of inferior quality goods. We are not properly developed, or there is some kind of thing which is not up to the mark in our personality or in our body. Or some people feel that if I tell this, people may feel that my parents are not good people, or that something or the other, that they may misunderstand that I am on drugs. So there is a lot of shame, lot of fear, a lot of shyness to ask help. Okay, so when you come in this situation, what you need to do is you have to work with somebody who is known to you and with whom you feel safe, that this is what I'm feeling, I think I need to seek help, but this is what. Or if you know somebody who needs to seek help but is not seeking help, then you have to ask them, like, what do you think about this? Are you finding some kind of thoughts which are uh, making you fear to go and seek help? What is going through your mind? And you have to really, there are some very good sources on the internet also to give you the answers for this. Or you can contact one of us to ask, is it true that people, if we go and seek help, they may take charge of our life, or that they may tell everybody, or what is the truth, so solve your doubt, whatever is the doubt. People don't know that seek help means what we should do exactly. No, so is it that we should go and tell everybody that, oh, this is happening to us, help us, and then everybody. So what should we do? Seek help means exactly what should we do? So seek help means you have to share your issue with somebody, that maybe you're not comfortable sharing the whole story, but you have to say that I'm going through something which is making me feel very uncomfortable and I want to seek help. So can you guide me? And the best person, usually we'll come to it a little later, you can discuss, you can ask your friends or somebody whom you trust. So a lot of times it is difficult to seek help because some students, they may leave their hometown and they may go to a new place to study, and in the new place they don't know anybody, then how to tell? And then if they tell their parents, they feel ki parents will become tense, they don't want to give any tension to the parents. So they don't know how to solve this problem, ki I know I need to do, I'm scared to go anywhere, but now I don't know how to approach this kind of problem. Should I wait till I get to know other people? That kind of confusion is there. So that is the second thing to seek help. Second problem, many times it is also the issue that the students or the young people, they have a kind of a pocket money and a budget, and when they do the Google search and they see who are these people, the Google search, na, people who give more advertising money, that search comes up first. And people who can give you a lot of money to advertise, they also earn more, na, means they charge more. So you'll see all expensive people over there, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, so many things. Then after seeing that, you're thinking, oh my god, my monthly budget is only 5,000, in that what I'll do this, leave it, I don't want to do this. So you become very frightened to feel that. Other thing is also, there's a fear, if I go to a psychiatrist, will they just lock the door and put me in the mental hospital? Because that is what they show in the movies. So once one young boy came to me and he was crying so much and he was really quite upset and he couldn't tell me anything. So that day I had a suspicion that okay, his parents are telling me one thing and he's just crying, I'm not getting it. So I sent him back, and then next time when he came, then he told me that day I was not able to tell you anything because I was frightened of you. I thought the moment I start speaking, you'll catch me and put me in the mental hospital. But that day, seeing your response that you didn't do anything and you asked me to calm down and come back, I realized that you're not going to probably do that. So now I can tell you. And the problem was completely different from what we were thinking. And we were able to sit across the table and solve the problem. So there's a lot of fear based upon misinformation. So that is another reason to seek, difficult to seek help. So basically, if you feel that you have been thinking ki I want to seek help, but you're not got around to doing it, or you have told your friend ki okay, do this, you seek help, and they have not done anything, then you must go back 2 steps and Ask yourself or ask your friend, "Ki, what is happening? What is the difficulty? What are you thinking? What are the fears you have about seeking help?" Now, once we've covered all this, what we also now need to know that the right time has come. So you have come to a point where you know what is mental health, you know what is ill health, you know what could be the difficulties. You have identified that probably here the mental health situation can benefit from some discussion. Okay, so you have come to the right time to seek help. Let me put it very, very concretely and clearly to you that what is the right time to seek help. One is if you're undergoing any kind of emotional turmoil, which is mild, feeling different, feeling not in control of yourself, not happy with yourself, not happy with the world around you, but you're doing everything. Then, if it is going on for a long time, which is at least 3 months, it's going on for more than 3 to 6 months, then I think you need to seek professional help. If you have a problem that is so severe that you're not able to sleep properly, you're not eating properly, you're drinking alcohol to an extent that you don't want to drink or you don't want to smoke, but you cannot stop, you have to go. You're doing certain things that make you feel guilty. Why did I behave in such a way? And it's happening again and again or very severely. You can't concentrate on your studies, you can't concentrate on your this thing, work, then that is also a situation where you need to seek professional help. Third is if your body is not functioning properly, you are feeling very weak, you're not sleeping properly, then you constantly fall ill. One day it is this infection, one day it is that infection, because mental health problems can reduce your immunity and make you more prone to infections. So that is also a situation where you need to seek professional help. The fourth situation is if you have undergone any sudden stress in your life, which you are really struggling to cope with. So maybe you are having these emotions, uh, which you feel are a normal response to the stress, or which even the body functions or your ability to cope with your work is in keeping with whatever stress, but we don't want that stress to impact the rest of your life. So to cope with that stress, you can go to a seek professional help. uh, Fifth, I would say that when in doubt, seek professional help, because nowadays we do get certain situations where we take a very detailed assessment and we have to sometimes reassure the person that no, you're okay. For example, there was this young person who came to me. He was 22 years old, doing very well in his studies, and he also had a part-time job where he was doing very well. And his concern was he did not have a girlfriend till then, you know and he felt that maybe he's not normal, okay, because he doesn't have a girlfriend. So anyway, I didn't just say that no, no, this is normal, go away. I took a detailed history, why he thinks like this, then what his life has been, and how these things happen, and where would he likely meet the girls and all that. And what I realized was till 12th standard he was in an all boys school, and after that he was very busy studying. He's extremely focused in his studying, and because he took a engineering subject, the girls were less, and whoever were there, they were also very studious, so that time only didn't happen. And then he had lot of friends who were girls, but none of them gelled with him on a personality level. The likes and interest did not match to the extent that he could really go and spend some time with them, and that is why the girlfriend thing had not happened. So I really explained to him that this is how it is, and you have to really be sometimes patient to find the right person, and then these things can happen. So if you get a doubt, okay, this is not working properly in me or something, then you can go and ask somebody, professional person, who will do a thorough checkup. Nevertheless, I had to tell this boy a little bit training in terms of, okay, do you know this, and do you know how to talk to girls, and those kind of simple things I had to check to make sure that his skills in terms of approaching uh, other people, be they boys, girls, youngsters, elders, how is it. So I gave him that little intervention and he was happy. So you, when in doubt, seek help. How to seek help? Nowadays, earlier when we were young people, we did not have the internet. So we used to ask our parents, and if our parents were no good at talking, then we had to ask our friends. But I would say that you're very lucky, you have the internet, so a lot of resources do come from the internet. But again, the problem with the internet is you get a lot of unfiltered resources. Some of them may be the good and safe resources, some may not be that good and safe. So the better thing is that if you have a good communication with your parents or with anybody, any of your friends, uncles, or your family doctor, you have to ask them first for a reference, that I'm going through some emotional issues, can you help me to find someone. If that's not happening, then now we have that every institute has a institute counselor. Every institute, educational institute, and if you have started working, then even at the workplace they do provide the counselors. So take help from them and discuss your issues with them. So if you don't have these two facilities, then there are a lot of free helplines, you know. So if you are under the age of 18 years, 1098, which is the child line helpline, it is extremely helpful. They can help you to this thing. And no matter what age you are, Telangana's helpline, which is 1446, which is a Government of India helpline, which works 24/7. You can call that helpline. So they can then give you some local people. The other popular helplines are, there is one thing called as I call helpline, you know, there is I and small I and then capital C A double L. Another helpline is called as the Bandrewala helpline. So these helplines work 24 hours a day, and they give help for emotional turmoil, mental health support. You don't have to be suicidal or something to seek help. Don't go that far. Okay, whenever you feel the need to talk and you feel that you're not finding any resources, even people who are in regular therapy, if their therapy is out, therapist is out of station or number is not reachable, something happens suddenly, therapist is not available, you can call these helplines and take help. So this is where you seek help from, either from your family physician and family members. They will refer you to somebody, or your school or workplace counselor, or from any of the helplines that I have told you: the government helpline, the child line helpline, Bandrewala helpline, or the I call helpline. Now, when you ask for help, what does exactly happen? What happens is they will want to know your information a little bit. It is not to trace you and catch you and put you somewhere, okay, or to inform your family that you're up to something. The practical reason is certain problems are related to the age of the person, you know. So we need to know ki, okay, how old are you? For example, if there is a obsessive compulsive disorder, is it more common in a certain age group, or is it a substance use issue, or what is it? You know, they are sometimes age related. So we need to know the age. We need to know whether you are a girl or a boy. Okay, then we also need to know which area you come from, for the simple reason that sometimes these are conflict related. So for example, you all know that some kind of unhappiness has been happening in the northeast of our country right now. So if some child calls us from there, we know, you know, that there is some kind of thing that this person may be thinking of, affected from. So we know, you know. So be open to giving this information. This information is never used against you, 100%. Now, I've worked on so many helplines. In fact, the page where this information collected is completely kept separate from your history. They cannot be matched. Okay. So in fact, the issue is really that when the next counselor comes, they have to really remember which person this is. So that much confidentiality they maintain. So you can really openly tell all these things. So they collect certain data. They also want to know if you've already had any help earlier, are you on any medication, what is your general situation, and they listen to what's happening to you. And they will do something which is called as psychological first aid. If you're calling a helpline, I'm telling you, they will give you psychological first aid. They will tell you that immediately what you can do to calm yourself down, feel more in control, to be safe. Okay, that is the first step. And then they'll also advise you that this problem can occur again or stay with you. So please ask help from somebody whom you can meet in person. Once you meet the professional person, again they will do the history and they will give you a kind of a hypothesis why this problem is happening. Maybe you had certain stress in your life, or you're not eating properly, your sleep pattern is not good, and all those things they'll ask, and they'll give you a sort of solution. Sometimes you just need to talk it out, you want to share your things, this happened to me, this is what I felt, and the professional person will listen to you and validate your experiences. That itself will help you to come out of whatever situation. Sometimes the stress is so much that it affects your body functioning in a way that even if you deal with the stress, the body is not able to come to the baseline. That is the situation we call as a mental illness situation, which is the depression or anxiety disorders, or anything like a bipolar disorder or a schizophrenia disorder. Now, these disorders are very easily treatable with medication. And nowadays, so I've been working for 20 years. 20 years ago, we had medications which had a lot of side effects. But now we have very good, effective, safe medications, and we give them in lower doses. And then we slightly adjust the doses so they are quite adjusted to the body, and they'll help you to come out. Because it is like this, that if the stress is severe or it continues for a long time, then definitely your body changes. Now, to bring the body back to the original position, some medical intervention is required, and that is the stage when you should go to a psychiatrist. So, who are the people to help you? It is what we call as the mental health professionals. Mental health professionals can be psychiatrists. Psychiatrists are doctors. They first do their MBBS degree, and then after that they get a specialization in psychiatry. They essentially treat diseases, so where the stress have been quite severe and your body has been reacting in a way, then that needs to be corrected with medicine. That is done by psychiatrists. Psychotherapists, they will help you to learn the skills which are required to come out of your problems or patterns. Suppose you have a pattern where the sleep is disturbed and you're trying very hard to correct it, but you're not able to do it, then you go to a psychotherapist who will help you to give you techniques to correct this pattern. Now, counselors are people who will generally sort of discuss, who will listen to you, and who will give you some kind of information, which you yourself will be able to use to, for example, if you come to a counselor who is a diet counselor, you feel that my energy levels, my concentration is low because my diet is not correct. So they will give you a lot of dietary advice, they'll give you information, and they'll let you do your own work. So in counseling, the amount of change that is done is more from your side than from the person's side. And then there are a lot of other people like social work people. The social workers who graduate from places like Tata Institute of Social Sciences, they work more with network of people like families, or where there is a marriage issue, suppose something like that, then they are able to solve the relationship issues. So these are some of the people. Why I'm telling you is that when you're looking up, you need to see the qualification. Is this person qualified to help me? Okay, so I'll come to that a little later again. When you come to us to seek our help, what do we expect of you? One is that we expect you to be quite honest with what you're telling. Whatever is happening, come out with it. Trust that it will be kept confidential. And we also expect that you will go back and think about what we have said. Sometimes you're not able to implement everything, we can understand that, but at least you should give a thought to the suggestions or the discussion that has happened. And if you're going through something again, please reach out to us again and let us know in whatever way that reaching out is, by message, phone. Usually the people will tell you. So communication has to be open. That is the minimum that the helpers expect of you. Other things, of course, it depends on where you go. Like in a helpline, these are free helplines. Whereas if you go to a private facility, there will be fees, and all those things are by mutual. But basic thing is, the helpers need is a open communication from your side as well. Why should you consider taking professional help? It is because many of the mental situations which are severe or which have gone on for a long time are unlikely to be solved by themselves. Okay, so if you feel that I'm doing okay and it is will go away by itself, it doesn't go. If it has been going on for a long time, there is a possibility that it will not go away and you need help to solve it. When you have a mental health concern, it is not only your mind or your relationship suffer, but it puts a lot of pressure on your other organ system like your heart, your kidneys, your reproductive system. A lot of girls, they may get menstrual issues, and basically then your body also get damaged, due to the stress. So once you take professional help, you can put a stop to this negative process that is going on in your body. When you go to seek professional help, there are a lot of people. Unfortunately, in our country, there is not much strictness, that who can give the help. So everybody says that I will counsel, you will counsel, and you may be in some risk. So don't take such kind of risk. Make sure that you're going to a person who is well qualified, who is registered with the particular organization. So if it is a psychiatrist, they should have a medical registration. If it's a psychologist, they should have a psychology registration. Then make sure that it's a proper place, not some hole in the wall where you go and meet somebody secretly. Nothing like this. Even if it is free, don't go to such places. Okay, definitely go to a place which is very open, which is accessible, which looks quite safe, because it's in a place, maybe it's in a hospital or in your doctor's clinic. It should be a proper person who is qualified. Mostly they should have at least 3 to 5 years professional experience. That is what I recommend, so that they are able to handle your this thing. Don't go alone. Never go alone to therapy. Take any friend, any relative. They can sit outside, because once you've gone through a session, sometimes the session is very heavy, you may feel dizzy, you need to be able to come home. So don't go alone. Try to get somebody. uh, Take a receipt. If somebody is taking money from you, make sure collect your receipt. Don't be very I mean, these things are very important. Okay. Now don't go by the patient ratings, that oh, this doctor, she talks very nicely, she is very pleasant. That is not important actually. What is important is how is the doctor making you wait for 3 hours? Do you have that much time? You are students, you are working people, so you see they are punctual, they are good value for money, they are available. If the person is always traveling here there for conference, then when you need, they are not available. They may be celebrity, but for you they are useless. So try to find somebody who is qualified, who is in a safe place, who is accessible, and you should be comfortable with that person. At least the first several times you should never go alone. Don't submit to any kind of examination, any kind of thing, till you feel comfortable with that person. Okay, so take your precautions. The person who is qualified, who is a very legitimate helper, will never harm you, but you stay careful. And I hope these guidelines help you about finding the right time and also the right person to seek help. I think I've spoken a lot today.
You really spoke so well. It was so structured.